As a child, I enjoyed trips to the local entertainment center, Chuck E. Cheese. One of my favorite games there was Whack-A-Mole. This arcade game featured moles hidden in holes and one whacker attached to hit every mole that surfaced. So when I saw a mole, I would hit it with the whacker, but as soon as it lowered, I expected others to surface in cadence with the computer settings. As I reflect with lament and anger on the tragedies that have surfaced since January 2020, of blatant disregard for the humanity of Black lives, I get the feeling we live in a similar computer setting, even though it isn't a game. One story pops up and protest and outrage whacks it down, but as soon as the attention turns from the whack case, another pops up that seems like the same thing with different name. And I've sat and reflected and wondered what can be done if the system has a rhythm to allow incessant injustice to keep surfacing. As people across the nation and even the world have spoken out, protested, held leaders accountable, confronted authorities, yet the same things pop up and sometimes in the same place. And as I drafted a post on Facebook to share my thoughts, I sensed God asking me, "But have you fasted and prayed?" This message struck a chord because as those who have been victims of injustice, we likely have responded to these events with anger and action. But I knew that I had not committed the rhythmic system of white supremacy to prayer and fasting. White supremacy ideology has flexed its muscles all over the world as one of the most lasting pandemics. Its evil roots have reached nations, cultures, communities, and lives. And with the system so deep-rooted, so foundational in global society, how can we only fight with fists? I deeply believe that communal prayer and fasting are vital weapons needed. The book of Esther, the power of protest and progress, is undeniably tied to the united prayer and fasting of the people. I believe that heaven still responds when we commit to praying and fasting for the collective cause. In some of our traditions of faith, we have been taught to keep anger and prayer separate. I believe we are being called to join our anger with prayer and fasting as we push for progress. I'm calling for all of us to join together, to unite in prayer and fasting, that our protests may be empowered with the supernatural as we resist together for progress. Calvin B. Rock, in his book Protest and Progress, shares that the push for parity was only propelled by moving the dial rather than waiting for it to turn. With that said, let's maximize our effort by moving the dial together. Join me this week as we journey in prayer and fasting. Fasting in the medical realm is when solids and or liquids are bypassed for the purpose of accurate evaluation. But in faith circles, fasting is not punishment, but a practice of petition. Fasting is the sacrificing of what I normally desire for the purpose of more intentional prayer for guidance, power, and help from the divine. We encourage all to prepare and to engage in this aspect of our journey for the power to progress. This week, we will hear from different denominations, cultures, and faith about the injustices around us and how we can protest to push progress. It is special that we are concluding our experience on this Saturday, or the biblical Sabbath, because through the Jewish and Christian scripture, Sabbath is the ultimate equalizer and itself is a statement against injustice. I am inviting all clergy of every denomination and faith to share a message with your faith group on this theme of prayer, protest, and progress this Saturday as we conclude our days of prayer and fasting. As humanity is thirsty for direction, let us flood the world with this message of fight and faith. Like and share this video with others so that our virtual chain may be stronger.